Welcome back for another episode of Fox Sports Lab NRL. I'm Eloise Sohier, as always, joined with Josh Morris. Josh, week 2 of the finals are here. We've got 2 games to look forward to. How are you feeling?
Yeah, that's it. We're starting to get less and less games until we get to the big one in a couple of weeks. But I'm very excited with this weekend's matches.
So it kicks off on Friday with the Storm hosting the Roosters. Now, the Storm's finals campaign didn't get off on the best foot. They couldn't get any points on the board. They had that horror injury to Pappenhausen. What sort of response are you expecting from Craig Bellamy's men this week?
Oh, I think they'll be a completely different side. Obviously, uh, the spine for Melbourne Storm, they were very clunky in attack. They said it themselves, and even Craig Bellamy said that they looked like they hadn't even trained that week. They were that clunky. So I don't think we're going to see that sort of performance again from the Melbourne Storm. They are playing down at home where they have a good record. They also have Coates missing as well. So they are a bit light there in their outside backs as well as the Roosters. But yeah, I just don't see the Storm putting two performances like that back to back. And I think, the Roosters, they've been brave. They were very brave on the weekend to get that win over Cronulla. I just think it might be a road too far for them this week.
Yeah, it's very rare that we'll see a Storm side put out a performance that they did against the Broncos. Just focusing on the Roosters, we talk about those injuries. No Joseph Suaalii, no Joseph Manu. We've got Paul Momorowski coming in. We've got Paulo as well. What do these injury tolls do for a side like the Roosters? Do you think they can galvanise and will it go close?
Oh, look, Trent Robinson will have his men prepared very well. They probably would have trained a little bit less this week, but also had some shorter, sharper sessions. The only query is those players that are coming in. They haven't played much football, first grade football throughout the year. Corey Allen as well comes into the side. That might be the only query. But then again, the Storm, Justin Olam as well, he hasn't played much footy. And Remus Smith has kind of been injured throughout the year as well. So in the backs there, they've got a few players coming in that haven't played much football. So I guess we're going to have to see as the game pans out how their fitness levels are and the decision making that they will take when they're fatigued.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Melbourne's last 4 home matches have gone over the total points line, and that's anything to look at in terms of stats and what have you. Just one question I wanted to touch on: the Ryan Pappenhausen injury. We know he might be back for 2024. What does that do for a squad in terms of seeing a mate go down and wanting to go deep into the finals to do it for him after what he has been through in his career so far?
Yeah, look, I think everyone, not just the Storm players, were very down after witnessing the injury to Pappenhausen. As a player, you know what you go through when you're injured, and to be out of the game for 14 months, there were probably some lonely times there, and his mental strength would have been tested, and he got through it, and every player was glad to see him back, glad to see him on the footy field. And then obviously with the injury happening, it was a dampener even for the Broncos. It almost spoilt their night as to how much respect he has and what he'd gone through. But it certainly galvanises the team when you see the spirit that he already has shown dealing with the injury. And if it isn't as bad as once thought, he could be back for round one next year. That's a massive boost for not only the Storm but Ryan Pappenhausen as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We hopefully he can get a fast recovery and give him all the well wishes. Just lastly on this game, we talk about Sam Walker and Luke Keary. Sam Walker's been playing some magnificent footy since he's been coming back into the first grade side. You talked about the Melbourne Storm spine being a bit clunky. In that matchup, is it a matter of who gets on top, comes out on top for this match?
Yeah, I think so. I think, as I said, they looked completely off against the Broncos, and the players all said it after the game. So they would have worked on that this week. I dare say, if we see either of these sides win, I think it'll be in the halves where the man of the match will probably stand up. For me, I think it has to be Cameron Munster for the Storm. I think he has that X factor, and he is a big game player. For the Roosters, Luke Keary has been outstanding, but Sammy Walker came up with a match-winning play as well on the weekend. So it is an interesting battle there, and they are two great spines going head to head.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brandon Smith comes up against his old time. There's already been a bit of a war of words between these two clubs. We're surrounding Brandon Smith, so looking forward to the fireworks for that one. Saturday's game, we head across the ditch. The Warriors are hosting the Knights, and it's an exciting one. Shaun Johnson is back in the number 7 jersey for the Warriors. That's a massive boost. No Jackson Hastings in the halves for the Knights, though.
Yeah, it is a massive boost for the Warriors. And playing in front of their home fans, they'll get a packed out stadium there. It's going to be a very, very hostile crowd. They played each other twice this year and they're one apiece. So the winner of this knocks out the other team, unfortunately. But, for the Knights, they've won 10 in a row. They have a lot of momentum behind them. They have won plenty of those games without Hastings as well. So whoever gets to play halfback, I think the team will rally behind them, and it'll be interesting to see what type of pressure they apply to Kalen Ponga this week as well. I think just purely the fact that it's over in New Zealand, I like the Warriors there, and with the inclusion of Shaun Johnson, I think they'll be hard to beat over there.
Just talking about matchups, we talked about the halves in the previous game. We look at the wingers and the outside backs in this one. We've got Dallin Watene Zalesniak, Marcelo Montoya. Then you've got Marzu and also to Dominic Young. I mean, it could be a high-scoring affair when you've got wingers like that who can finish so well.
Yeah, I think this match will have plenty of entertainment. I think it'll have plenty of points too. I think we're going to see a higher scoring match. Although the Warriors' defense has been really good this year, I just think the way that both teams attack, the wingers have been the beneficiaries of that, and I think we might even see all 4 wingers score in this game. That's how many tries I think are going to be scored. But as I said, I think the Warriors will be too strong in this one.
There you have it. Josh is tipping the Warriors. Now, just outside of the finals and outside of the games that are still going on, obviously we saw Raiders and Sharks season come to an end. Just quickly a touch or a note on both of those sides and what they're going to have to improve for 2024 to try and be deep in the finals come next year.
Yeah, well, for the Sharkies, I guess it's that ability to beat a top 4 or a top 8 side. They've struggled throughout the year doing that, and they're heavily reliant on Nico Hines as well. They need to try and find another X factor player. Will Kennedy, they obviously missed him during the finals, and he is a classy player, but they probably need to find another player with that X factor that can slide into that squad and give them a lot more strike in attack rather than relying on Nico. And for the Raiders, I guess it's got to be the defence. I mean, they won the they made it into the finals with a -4 and against. So they need to fix that where they're leaking too many points. But also the question has to be asked, what are they going to do with their halves next year? We saw Jack Whiten play centres towards the back end of the year, and Matt Frawley was in the halves. Matt Frawley is now going to Leeds over in the English competition, and Jack Whiten's going. They lose Jared Croker as well. So it's going to be a different-looking Raiders backline next year. But that is the question. Who are they going to play in the halves for the Raiders next year?
Yeah, lots of questions to be asked on those teams. Just lastly, we know a lot of people saying it's a 2-horse race for this premiership in 2023. Broncos or the Panthers? Just lastly, Josh.
Yeah, well, I went off the Roosters quite a while ago and kind of started favouring the Broncos. So I've really enjoyed watching them play this year. The Penrith are obviously the team to beat, but if anyone's going to do it, I think it will be the Broncos. I think the style of football that they've been playing, they're being led around by Adam Reynolds perfectly. They get the week off. They get to play a home prelim final at Suncorp there. I've got no doubt that they'll get a win there, and they'll face Penrith in the grand final. So, I'm on the Broncos bandwagon.
There you go. They haven't won a premiership since 2006, and I was in year 6 then. So some time between them. I'm not going to ask you where you were in 2006, but hopefully for the fans up in Queensland, they can get it done. Josh Morris, thanks so much for your time once again. Let's chat next week.
Thanks, Eloise.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.